Hey, what's up? I'm Jesse from Nifty, and we're here with Brett Smith and Juliana Morgan from Jane in the Factory. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, Jesse.
Good.
Hey. So, Jane in the Factory was the jury award winner at Nifty 2010 for Best Short Film. It was one of the audience favorites of the festival, one of my favorite films of all time. It's so good to talk to you guys. Brett, do you want to talk just a little bit about, for people who haven't seen the film, give us a little short synopsis of what the film's about?
Pitching this movie is really funny because it's a really simple story. It's just about a girl who's working in a factory and just wants to change her life. And it's just kind of like told in trying to be like a true, honest way. And she makes a friend, and then she has to make a tough decision at the end. And yeah, it's just kind of a real life story. That's what we tried to do.
So what inspired you for doing that story?
Well, I kind of work from themes, I guess. Like at the time when I set out to write the film, I was really worried about the way that people treated each other. Like I felt like people acted selfishly, and I kept seeing friends betray friends, and I lost a lot of my friends, and I was really obsessed with why people did some of the things that I did not relate to or understand at all. So when I set out to write a film, I basically wanted to understand why people did things that I didn't relate to. And then I came up with the character of Jane, and I knew that I wanted to have a character who at the end did something that I objectively would say, well, that's way wrong. That's wrong. And I wanted to create a character who, in a situation, in a story, where at the end people would know, okay, that was wrong, but it's more complicated than just right and wrong. Like the reason I tried to justify a way that people do selfish things, it's maybe that they feel like they have no other choice. So it was really a very personal journey that I wanted to take, and just for my own sake to figure out why people did things that I didn't understand.
So Brett, Jane in the Factory was definitely one of the best films of Nifty in the last couple of years. The cinematography, the acting, the lighting, the story was all above par. Do you want to just talk about the production process? How long it took you to shoot, and kind of maybe what you've shot on, kind of how you were able to put together such a great film.
Sure. Well, technically we shot on Red. I will say the project was a student film. It was at Florida State, and they paid for all the production costs. So camera, if I'd shot on film, they would have paid for the film and paid to develop it. But we shot on Red, and we shot 2K. There's 2K and 4K, and I couldn't afford, personally, I would have had to have rented lenses to do 4K, and I did not have. I'm glad you say the production value is quite good, because I spent $200 on that movie, and it was for music rights. We used everything in the film was borrowed or we got from Goodwill and then returned, because they were generous to our school, and we have a policy with them. But the production was 3 days, and I think in the end it was like 4 locations. So we basically just pulled favors, and we would go to a location and just say, hey, we have a small film. Can we please use your diner or your trailer for like half a day or a night? Yeah. And they would be generous enough to agree. And usually we would not have to pay a thing. People compliment the cinematography a lot, and I think it's gorgeous, and I love the way that my DP Matt Sklar shot it. But the funny thing is that we did not use more than 2 lights in the whole film. And one time I made him take away the light because I was like, that's going to be in a shot. So we shot it documentary style, and really just, it was a testament to that we spent a lot of time just talking about the way we wanted to shoot it and the way we wanted to tell the story. And the way to make it emotionally work was to do kind of like a documentary style thing where we couldn't put lights into the set, because then we might shoot them, and then we'd ruin the shot. So it was just it was really more planning beforehand than on the day of.
That's great. So Juliana, your performance in the film was one of the best we've seen, I think, at Nifty ever. Do you want to just talk about your acting experience, how you got into acting, and kind of how what you did to really pull out such a emotionally driven and great acting performance?
Well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate those comments. Acting, I've really been doing it for most of my life. I started in drama club in 4th grade, then did theater conservatory style, like magnet programs for 7 years. Then I started doing films at FSU, and Brett's movie was actually my first leading role with a lot of depth and heart in it. I think What was funny though too is I was in Spain when Brett told me that
Yeah.
I got the role, and we were very like unsure if I was going to even make it back on time. So like the night before we started shooting, Brett and I met up, and he basically like just quizzed me on the character of
Yeah.
Jane.
Like we did not rehearse at all. Like
Yeah.
I met Juliana was the first actress that I met for the role, and I immediately was like, oh, this might be perfect, but I have like 20 more actresses to audition. And then I went through all of them, and then I think I picked someone, and Juliana was the backup, and then Juliana was like in Spain, and I was like, oh my God, well look, we have another actress. And then we took the other actress to the factory, and we had her we shot some stuff on like a DV cam of her like putting the wood in the machine, and she was afraid of that machine. She was so afraid. So I said, man, like I'm so sorry, like this actress is not going to work. Like we really held out for Juliana, and it was basically the only assurance I needed was the first time we met, and we talked about the character, and
Yeah.
that was all I needed. We didn't do a reading or anything. I was just meeting Juliana. I knew when I saw it.
Yeah. I mean, really, I think for me, there was just like a few scenes that were really emotionally difficult. You know, like when Jane gets fired, when she finds out that her mom, stole from her, and then obviously the last scene. And for those scenes, it was mainly just spending time by myself and just like trying to get into the head of somebody that's in those situations. So basically, just staying in it as much as I can and not just being Jane the entire time we were on set, I think, is what helped me. Yeah.
That's great. That's really cool insight. So, talk a little bit more about kind of like your relationship directing on set. Like how was it? Did you follow everything to the script, or was there improv? How did that work?
I think, well, how did we do it? I mean, for the most part, we would get like what I think Brett would get like at least one shot that I knew that he wanted, and then after that, it was a lot of like, well, what do you want to do?
It's kind of like playing.
Yeah,
like,
playtime. I mean, I don't want to say playtime because we were very professional, but at the same time, it was just like try different things. Like that scene where like I open my lockbox and I find the money missing. We must have shot that like 7 different takes, and each time was different. Like,
I started off with a script, and it's funny because I think above all else, I do consider myself a writer, which is funny because then when we got there, I said, okay, if there's a line that doesn't read or if there's a moment that doesn't play, then like we have to chuck it immediately and do something else. And I was like, oh, let's play a trick on Brennan, who's the guy actor. Like, let's have Brennan play a trick on her, and she's and it was. And then there's scenes that we scripted that I'm like, we have to script this scene because we definitely need this scene. And like that scene was the first one to go. So it was very much, we tried to keep it really fluid on set and add things and subtract things. And we didn't shoot an alternate ending by any means, but I think we knew what theme we wanted to tell. And then we knew when we saw it, and we knew when we didn't have it.
And I think what helped a lot too is I think Brett and I saw Jane in a very similar way. Like there wasn't much conflict between what I saw her as and like why she gets motivated to finally steal the car in the end. And I think the one big discussion we had was about the facial expression after she steals the car. Because I mean, for me, I think Jane knows it's a morally wrong decision, but there's that instance where after the keys are stolen, when your adrenaline's pumping, and you can't be angry with yourself at that moment because you're just gonna do what you're going to do.
You got what you wanted for the whole movie.
Like you're on a mission, you have to complete the mission, but then like after she gets in the car and starts driving away, it starts to hit her like, what have I done?
No, that's really great. Thanks for sharing so much with us. So Brett, do you want to talk about your experience at Nifty 2010 this last year? Like what it was like for you. What you got out of it.
Yeah, Nifty was great. I can't believe a place like Nifty exists. I've been to several film festivals and I've been to markets, and whether I had to film there or not, I had fun and I saw films, and I have fond memories of basically all of them. But Nifty is the best. Maybe I think it's easily the best festival experience I've ever had. I'd never been to a place where it was really so much about connecting with other people. And I still talk to a bunch of people I met at Nifty on Facebook, and I hope to see them again soon. And I like half the volunteers I became friends with, and I would have a place to crash if I needed to go to Seattle. Like It's really amazing that a place like Nifty exists.
It's really great to hear that. I mean, obviously that's why I started this festival. That's why we do this festival, is for for that. So that's great. So Brett, Juliana, thanks so much for talking with us. It was great to hear all your insights and opinions and all that kind of stuff about the film. And really hope we'll see more from both of you in the future. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse.
Bye, Jesse.